end of this Shemitah year comes on Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year, the holiest days in the Jewish practice, September 25th into 27th. Yom Kippur is October 4th and 5th. The Feast of Tabernacles is October 9th through the 16th. We have a new moon coming in right on Rosh Hashanah on September 25th. Now after that, we have the full moon on October 9th, same day that the Feast of Tabernacles starts. And then after that, we have the solar eclipse, and these eclipses are really crucial. Coming in on the 25th, we have the solar eclipse, and then on the 7th and 8th, we have the lunar eclipse. So to wrap up this full cycle, we're going to be ending it with some eclipses. Okay, I see that Johnny just shared a chart of the S&P 500 matching the 2008. Says this week is a pivotal week. What's interesting is if you pull the fractal on the S&P 500 during 2008, you line it up right now, you see that we're about to fall off a cliff sometime in the middle of this next Q4, the next quarter. We wrap up Q3 at the end of this month, September, and then the fractal tells us that we would be going back down to the downside and catching a bottom sometime in October, November, kind of the middle of Q4, which is where all of these dates are converging at, right? All of these all of the solar, lunar events, all of the planets aligning, it all lines up along with the Bitcoin chart and the fractals that I'm showing as well. Sub 14K Bitcoin fractal. That's what I'm calling it, okay? If you pull the fractal, now you can move it up and down, and you know, this is all kind of relative. The fractal doesn't match up perfectly. What I'm trying to do is find similar structures, patterns in a fractal that is already played out in the chart, and then we're overlaying it, seeing what potentials we got. So the first one takes us down well below 14,000. Depending on where you match up the fractal, it can take it anywhere from about 12,000 all the way up to 14,000, which is kind of the targets that we've been talking about and watching for a while. You know, going back sub 14K Bitcoin. Now, the next fractal that I shared with you guys is the end of the world fractal, and it takes us sub 6,000 Bitcoin. I think that this is a stretch. And if you move this fractal around a little bit more, you won't go quite that low. It would bring us back to the lows of the previous bear market when we went to what we previously traded at about, what, 3,800, 4 grand for Bitcoin. I think during even the COVID crash, right? We briefly went down to that level. So it would bring us back down to the COVID crash level, close to. This is all relative pulling these fractals, but this is what I'm calling the end of the world fractal for Bitcoin, which takes us to sub 6,000, give or take, well below 10K, well below 10K. I'm showing you the reference point for the fractals that I'm pulling on these charts. So this ended basically at the end of March, April through May, this fractal that goes pretty deep. What is this? This is the end of the world fractal we're pulling from earlier this year, basically April through May. That is a serious move to the downside. I think it's almost 75%. I was pulling the level and it's about a 75% drop. Now, the sub 14K fractal, I am pulling from May all the way through the beginning of June. So no, basically, if you combine both these fractals together, you would have the cumulative move that we made from April all the way through June. And it's a massive drop. Now, why do I think that we're not going to get I mean, we could get that same fractal playing out, but we've already been stretched so far. We've already been beat up so far. I don't really think that we're going to, see both those fractals combined play out again. That would be pretty incredible. But we have entered new territories on the chart that we have not seen in previous Bitcoin bear markets. So that's one thing to watch out for. But if you pull this fractal here, the sub 14K fractal, that's kind of the one I'm really looking at. And you can see it's not a perfect match, but it's pretty damn close. And then we fall off to the bottom here and we go sub 14K. This is why I have picked up my Bitcoin short position. Did I get the perfect entry that I was looking for? Not really, but let me run you through the full moon fake out. Check this one out. This is the final chart that I shared. This is the 4-hour chart. All the previous charts were the daily chart, zoomed out, bigger time frame. Here, if we look at the 4-hour chart, we're looking at the full moon fake out that is taking place right now, okay? So you guys can see we had an incredible pump over the last 2 days from when the queen passed away, basically triggered this pump that we're now going through. So we've got all the way up to over 21,000. A little bit of life breathed back into this market. I made my first, I was talking about it last night on the live stream about how I was trying to enter my Bitcoin short above 20K. I missed my opportunity. So I ended up taking my first Bitcoin short position at 19,300. I shared that in the trading channel. Now what I did was, I think it was not yesterday, but the day before, I doubled down on that position and I've gone full all in on this Bitcoin short with with my trading bag. At the time of this recording, my trade is down 27%. But the point is, my second entry point was at 20,900, but it brought the average buy-in to 20,100. So if you look at this 4-hour chart that I'm sharing with you, the full moon fakeout chart, I'm showing you the two levels that I've made my Bitcoin shorts at. My first entry was at 19.3. My second entry was above that second line. It was at 20,900, but it brought my average buy-in on this Bitcoin short to 20,100. So I am waiting for Bitcoin to go back below sub 20K. And as I just showed you guys on the bigger time frames, over the next couple months, we're going much lower to the downside. Now, this is not proper trading. This is being stubborn and wanting to see Bitcoin get wrecked. This is what I'm doing right now. I am following, kind of the patterns, the fractals that we saw play out earlier this year, the moon phases. As you can see, I drew the full moon circle for the full moon fakeout. I drew the circle right there for you. We're about to see it printed on that chart. Usually about a day or so after, that's when that full moon phase indicator actually pops up after the full moon. Okay, today is that date. Okay, so we got a full moon fakeout. And if you go back and you look, as we've been watching the full moon phase patterns play out, when we get a pump into that full moon, you give it a couple days, you give it a week, and we roll back over in a serious way. Now, what fractal is going to play out, I don't know. But I got my best case scenario for Bitcoin is it still breaks sub 14K and we're down into the 12, 13K range. Worst case, end of the world scenario, we could see sub 10K easily. But I wanted to share you guys where I'm at with that Bitcoin short. My average position right now is 20,100. Another key point, I have no stop loss set. I'm all in, and at the time of this recording, I could get wrecked if we get some crazy pump to 24K is my liquidation price. At 24K, I lose that whole bag. That's fine. I've made it back with my XRP bag probably tenfold. Doesn't matter. But if I'm right, we're going to be making quite a bit of money, right? If we do get these moves down to the downside that I'm expecting. But key thing to watch out here for is that I have the stomach to watch my bag be down 50% when we go up to 22K. When we get some exciting pump here, basically in the next week or so, if we do get an extension on this pump, that's fine. Okay, we're not going to be liquidated till 24K. And I will probably even add more to this position. If we start to approach 23K, if it looks like we might break 24K, I'm going to buy in again, which means I'm placing more on this bet. So that would raise my liquidation price up even higher. They will not liquidate. They will not wreck unless we get some crazy pump in the middle of the night while I'm, sleeping and I don't catch it. Bitcoin's known to move 1,000, 2,000 in a day, but it's going to take a lot to catch me off guard on that. So I'm just going to keep buying Bitcoin short until I see these fractals play out, until I see this move play out. That's not good trading. Most day traders have stop losses at 5 or 10%. They're in and out of the market super quick. This is a conviction play, right? This is a stubborn conviction play, but it is a play based off my conviction that we have not seen the worst. We are going back down to the downside, and it's a way to hedge my bet against XRP being all in, XRP just holding and praying. This is a way to hedge that bet. So we'll see how that plays out. For those of you guys who are new here, please understand our investment thesis. None of this stuff matters, trading Bitcoin, trading XRP, buying digital assets, until you have your prepping and essentials laid out and done, and you've actually planned and stored up on all of that stuff that matters.